How is it going, everyone? It's Lumity here, and today we are talking about another kart racing game on the Game Boy Advance. The Game Boy Advance has so many kart racing games, and a surprising amount of them are actually pretty fun, including the game we're going to be talking about today. Today we are going to be talking about Cartoon Network Speedway on the Game Boy Advance. Now, this is a fun little kart racing game that obviously is using Cartoon Network characters, so you're going to get quite a few of the good classic Cartoon Network characters. Some characters that I really like Johnny Bravo or Courage the Cowardly Dog, for example. And you also get characters like Ed, Edd, and Eddy in this game. And you get to pick through about three different modes. You have your Grand Prix, you have your Challenge mode, and then you have your quick races and stuff like that. The interesting thing about this is that it has this Challenge mode, and the Challenge mode is how you unlock all of your characters in this game. And the whole point of Challenge Mode is basically just to try to get as many points in each race. And you have to get a certain amount of points by doing things like hitting the opponents, collecting these stars. There's these little double point things that you can get that will give you more points for hitting your opponents and collecting these little stars on the map. You have to pass, when you pass someone you're racing, you get points just for passing them and stuff like that. So you have to try to get as many points as possible before the end of the race, and if you get enough points, you actually unlock either another character or you unlock the next track in the challenge mode. And it's actually a pretty neat little thing, especially because challenge modes are kind of something that I view as almost a newer thing. You see them in a lot of modern kart games, but this is the first time I've actually seen them in like an older kart game. You know, this is the first time I've seen that way to unlock things in an older kart game. So I actually thought that was kind of interesting, because you see that in things like Nickelodeon kart these days, or things like even DreamWorks kart, but you don't really see that in a whole lot of older kart games. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and I don't mind it overall. I think it's actually pretty fun, and it's pretty easy as well. In fact, this entire game is pretty darn easy. I don't really think that there's much struggle to be had in this game, and there's not really much challenge, so if you're looking for a challenging game, this probably isn't for you. But if you're looking for an easygoing, just kind of fun, chill racing game, you'll probably like this. Yeah, you'll probably win most of the races, you probably won't have any issues with that, as long as you're picking a fast racer, but it's still, it's well designed, it plays very well, it looks pretty darn good, I like the way it looks. For the most part, every character looks good. There's a couple characters that could look better, but for the most part, the characters look pretty good. The sprite work and everything is pretty nice. And the course design is actually very good as well. I like a lot of the courses. There's actually even this little haunted area that you can go to, this haunted course, and I really like that one. It's got like ghosts on the course, and there's like spooky trees around, and it's your stereotypical spooky stuff on the course, but it's pretty well made and pretty well designed. And the controls in this game also are very good. In fact, the funny thing about this game is that this is actually probably, so far, the best controlling Game Boy Advance kart racing game that I have played to date. And that's just so odd to me that out of all the random games, this Cartoon Network Speedway game has such a good design when it comes to the controls. Everything feels so smooth, the controls just feel really tight, and the game just feels really good, and it runs very well as well. So I'm just really impressed with this game, honestly. Again, yeah, it's not difficult, but just for the fact that it is a fun little kart racing game that you can, drive around with some of your favorite characters in, I think it's worth picking up and trying out. And you do have a decent amount of tracks, and all the tracks are pretty well designed. There's not really a single track that I hate in this. And everything looks good, the backgrounds look good on all the tracks, the music's fine in this game. It's nothing, spectacular, but it's good enough to listen to. And overall, it's actually just a really fun time. And I think probably the best part about this game is that it's not very expensive. I found my copy at a game store for $4. And for $4, this is kind of like a no-brainer at that point. It's really good. So I actually highly recommend this game if you're able to pick it up for under $10. Definitely try this game out. It is a lot of fun. It's a fun little kart racing game. Yes, it is very easy, but it's still good. If you want to make this game harder on yourself, you can do that by picking a character that has bad stats, because each character does have their own individual stats. And basically, if you pick a slow racer, that's going to be the only way you have a hard time in this game. So if you want to lose, you basically have to try to lose in this game. If you pick a slow racer, yeah, you could lose if you do that. I think there was one or two races that I lost because I picked a slower racer, but that's going to be the only time you actually lose. If you pick someone who actually has decent speed, you'll win pretty much every single time. So just keep that in mind. If you want to challenge yourself, maybe pick a slow racer and see if you can beat the faster racers, but that'd be the only, I feel like, real way to get a challenge out of this game. And I will say, you could also pick one of the slower characters and then try to master all the shortcuts and beat the enemies that way, because there's actually a lot of shortcuts in this game, and all the shortcuts I actually really enjoy. I think the shortcuts are pretty well designed, so no problems there either, no issues with that. So overall, I really don't have any complaints for this game, not anything major at least, you know. The only thing I can think of is little Susie from the Johnny Bravo. For some reason, the pixels on that character, she's like yellow. She's a bit too yellow, and it just looks really odd. And I think they could have had some better characters. Also, you know, they have the grandma from Courage the Cowardly Dog, but they don't have the grandpa. And I wish they would have had him. Eugene, I think is his name. I feel like they should have had Eugene in this game because he's just not a likable character, but he's more iconic, you know what I mean? So I feel like they could have done that as well. But other than that, phenomenal game. It's a phenomenal kart racing game that if you are a kart racing fan, you should pick up. Or if you're just looking for a nice little game on the Game Boy Advance, pick this up. It's cheap, it's fun, and it is something that overall is pretty well designed. Oh, there is one other negative I will say before I end the video, and it's just kind of more of a odd choice, and I've seen another kart racing game do this before, but I can't remember which one it was off the top of my head. But there is the decision that they made in this game to basically have some of the power-ups that you see on the course. You know, you see power-ups in pretty much all of these kart racing games. You can go pick up a power-up and it'll give you a random item to help you in the race, whether it's something to knock out your opponent or, you know, maybe it's something to just give you a slight edge over your opponent. Maybe it's like it gives you a shield or something. It has those power-ups, but a lot of them are locked. You actually have to unlock the power-ups, and I've never been a big fan of that. Again, I've seen it done in another kart racing game before, but I just do not like that setup. You can unlock them, you know, kind of easily enough. You just have to basically score points, and you can do that in the quick race as well. If you're scoring points in the quick race, you can eventually unlock the stuff. But I just prefer to just not have those as locked. You know, I don't feel like pickups that you get on the course should be something that is locked. That's kind of like locking your own features. You know, it's not like unlocking a character or something like that. You're literally locking a feature and a gimmick in your own game, and it's just a really weird thing to do. So I'm not a big fan of that. But still, overall, I feel like in the grand scheme of things, that's a very minor complaint. But thank you so much for watching. Go pick up Cartoon Network Speedway on the Game Boy Advance. It is 100% worth trying out if you can find it for less than $10. I will talk to you in the next video. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.